Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a movie review. So this movie review is going to be focused on Black directors, Black filmmakers, and it may even end up as a series every Friday. So the film that I want to talk about today is Eve's Bayou. Eve's Bayou came out in 1997 and it was directed by Kasi Lemmons. The time period for Eve's Bayou is the 1960s. This is a coming of age story. Okay, so for the main characters, you have Eve Baptiste, and that's played by Journey Smollett. You have Mozelle Baptiste LaCroix, that's played by Debbie Morgan. You have Louis Baptiste, played by Samuel L. Jackson. You have Roz Baptiste, his wife, played by Lynn Whitfield. There is then Diane Carroll, who plays Elzora, who is the voodoo lady in the film. And then you have Megan Good, and her character is Cecily Baptiste, and Maddie Monroe, played by Lisa Nicole Carson. And so those are the main characters of the film. Let's break down the main character. I would describe Eve Baptiste as a curious child, somewhat not so, almost a tomboy, but not quite. But she was very adventurous and very curious. And she looked up to her aunt and her mother for advice, particularly her aunt Mozelle. They both share the gift of being able to look into people's future and see visions. And that's one of the quotes that I want to share with you a little later in regard to their idea of seeing those visions. I typically stay to like watching family genre type of films, but I'm kind of branching out and like seeing what the female directors have been doing or have done in the past. So like directors like Kasi Lemmons, Julie Dash, those filmmakers, just to get a gauge on, just to be able to be inspired and get a gauge on what has been done in the past and what can be potentially done in the future with up-and-coming filmmakers, and me being a up-and-coming producer and filmmaker to be inspired in that way. So the film was set in rural Louisiana, hence the title Bayou. And so I thought what was beautiful about this film was the picturesque landscape. It was, you would see shots of it, on the bayou, on the water, and those trees, the cascading of the greenage from the trees reflecting onto the water was beautiful. And I want to say that Louis' character, or Louis, I want to say that Louis' character in the film was something else. Like, he was like a ladies' man. And it was said that, because they lived a wealthy life, especially during the time period. So he was a doctor, and he's a doctor, and he takes care of, most of his clients are women. And so he has affairs with his wife, with these women. And that is an ongoing internal conflict with Louis, is his affair with these women. And I thought, that was very, just very dangerous and very trifling to have a lifestyle like that. But it kind of showed his insecurities as well. And so, That's what I thought about his character. Ra's character, his wife, I felt like she was just wanting to maintain the idea of, being the perfect wife, and not having to struggle, living, they mentioned living, having a house with 4 bedrooms. I think she really prided herself on wanting to keep that lifestyle, and she didn't really know what she was kind of worth and what she deserved, but she wanted to have a good family for her children. And I saw that in the film, that she wanted to maintain that lifestyle, so she just kept dealing with his affairs and things like that. So I want to get into the quotes that kind of stuck out to me. I just want to say that I'm really I really have appreciation for Megan Good and her character. Like what maturity she had to have to, play that role. The scene with her and Samuel L. Jackson is very, even though it is acting, it's very like, oh my gosh, it was troubling to watch. And then it leads Eve to then want to kill her father. And so she seeks out Diane Carroll's character to do that. Movie opens up with Eve talking, and her voice, it's her voiceover saying, this is the summer that I killed my father. And I'm like, oh wow, that's an attention grabber. Let's see how she really does that. And it wasn't really at her, at her own hands, but it was her ideas on wanting to actually see that through, that manifested into his demise. And so I thought that was really powerful, and it was because she was so upset about her sister being taken advantage of by him. I don't know, overall I think it's a good film. I think if you're sensitive to the voodoo, it probably, there are some themes there. But I want to say that the thing that really stuck out to me was the women in the film, like their characters. It was about these women. It was about 2 young girls. Eve's character was 10, and Cecily, she was 14, and then they had a younger brother, Poe, who was 9. And I believe that these women just carried the film with their role, even though Lewis paraded himself as this big doctor in town. The women really carried the film. Debbie Morgan's character, Mozelle, was like this, wise counselor who had her own issues to deal with, and she expressed it very well in the film. And Roz, played by Lynn Whitfield, her character was searching. I would say that her character was searching for something. And so let me just share the quotes that I thought was really prominent to me. And I also want to say Diane Carroll's character, the voodoo lady, she said, people have a way of dying at their own speed. And when I was thinking about Lewis's actions with these women, I'm like, here he is trying to heal these women, or be a doctor, a fixer, they said in the film, to these women, and he's going to give them diseases by like sleeping with other women. That's what I was thinking. Like, here he is trying to heal them, and he's going to harm them, and he's going to harm himself by getting diseases from these women. And so when she said people have a way of dying at their own speed, I'm like, exactly, he's going to kill himself. by his reckless ways. Let's see. So the other quote is, memory is a selection of images, some elusive, others printed indelibly on the brain. Each image is like a thread, each thread woven together to make a tapestry of intricate texture. In the tapestry tells a story. In the story is our past. And I thought that was really cool because she had the gift of seeing visions. And the imagery that stood out to me, the two things that stood out to me in this film was how wrong and foul and cruel Lewis was for being with these women. That was what I was thinking when I was in the middle of the film. And then, you know, the inappropriate kiss that was exchanged with him and his daughter. Oh my gosh, that was like, ugh. And then he hits her. That was like, that was heartbreaking. Very heavy film, like heavier than what I would watch. But it was told beautifully. The story was portrayed beautifully. So I'm curious, you guys let me know like what you think about, like, how do you, when you watch dramas, how do you feel? Are you able to take yourself out of the picture? Are you so into it you can feel, you know, what the characters are feeling? And how do you detach from that and go on and be able to live your life? And or do the characters stay in your mind? Today the characters definitely stayed in my mind. Just how, you know, foul and irresponsible Lewis was, and then also the ability for these women and this young girl, or this woman and this young girl, to look into the lives of other people. And I believe we have some gifts to be able to, you know, see what's coming, or, you know, have a sense of discernment and intuition. So I thought that was beautiful. The other quote I would like to share is that spoke to me was when Mozelle's character, played by Debbie Morgan, says, "Life is filled with goodbyes, Eve. 1 million goodbyes, and it hurts every time. Sometimes I feel like I've lost so much. I've had to find new things to lose." And so I was like, wow. So she said, sometimes I lost so much, I have to find new things to lose. And I remember when I had moved back from New York City, I'm like, man. So I lived in New York City for a while. And, you know, it was like my dream to live there. And when things didn't work out and I had to come back home, I was like, man, I lost. Like, I really lost. I lost, you know, I felt like I lost something. And the poem stood out to me, The Art of Losing, or one art, I believe is what it's called. I'll find it and I'll put it in the description. But it's like the art of losing isn't hard to master. So we lose everything. We lose, you know, we lose every day. We lose things, you know, often. But I was like, that really stood out to me, because it's part of life to lose things and our ability to be able to move on from it. So she's like, I have to find new things to lose. And with her history with her husbands, and they're, you know, them always dying, and her being told that she's cursed, it's really like, do we have the ability to move past what people have told us all of our lives and live a new life and be a new person, and not believe those things that other people say that we are? And so the last quote that I want to leave is when Roz's character, Lynn Whitfield, says, "When I was your age, I was just like you. I thought I knew everything. Now, even things I'm most familiar with seem mysterious to me, but I love you." So I thought that was powerful. And I don't do it any justice. The acting is phenomenal. The direction is phenomenal. So if you don't have anything to do this weekend, maybe you can check out Eve's Bayou. Thank you so much for watching my video and checking out this review. Feel free to like this video and comment and subscribe to my channel if you found this entertaining.